Welcome everyone, this is your host Abraham Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by the Crueltide Pocket Rulebook Kickstarter. In this tabletop RPG, Santa Claus has been captured and you need to rescue him by role-playing as any sort of fantasy creature imaginable. You could be a human with holiday powers, maybe one of Santa's helpers, an elf, perhaps a talking reindeer, or maybe a gingerbread cookie golem. It's all up to you to restore the holiday cheer and check out those stretch goals. This channel is also proudly sponsored by Dead Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop role-playing game where you play as monster girls experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have also released the pay-what-you-want tabletop RPG Daughters of Lamb, where you get to play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the missing pieces of their AI god. This channel is also proudly sponsored by the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products and check out their free tabletop RPG, the Red Roleplaying Game, a generic system that is able to handle any sort of theme, genre, flavor, setting that you can think of. Definitely check it out, the link will be in the description. All the links will be in the description and in the pinned comment as well. Today, I continue my review series featuring Titans of Fallen Earth. If you haven't seen the other parts of my review series featuring this mecha versus kaiju in the post-apocalypse tabletop RPG, please check out the playlist in the description below. This time we are going to talk about the secondary attributes. Let's start with hit points. Every character, monster, and non-player character in the game has hit points. A hit point score, which determines how much punishment that character can take before dying or becoming incapacitated. They are not an abstraction. Most attacks are assumed to hit automatically, and if they bypass a target's defense rating, they deal real physical damage to the target. It's important to note that pilots and titans have separate HP scores or hit point scores, with pilots being regular people on the ground having fewer HP than the massive titans they control. All pilots start the game with 6 hit points. Titans on the other hand have variable HP based on their builds. A tougher shell or more durable body gives titans a better chance of surviving combat encounters, though this often requires sacrificing power in other areas. Titans are typically divided into 7 hit zones: the head, the front torso, the rear torso or tail, the left arm, the right arm, the left leg, and the right leg. Each functional limb has its own HP score, and there are rules in the combat chapter on how to target and disable specific body parts for maximum advantage, so this is a very strategic tabletop RPG. Typically, head and front, that is the rather the head and the front torso, are the most important, since destroying these hit zones, so either here, the head, or the front torso, will either kill the titan or render it inoperable. Kaiju, because they have a very strange physiology, sometimes very strange anatomy, it could be a bit different when it comes to them. Now, when it comes to losing all HP, when a target's engine, or heart, or front torso for organic creatures, or the pilot behind the cockpit, or head for organic creatures, again, it reaches 0 hit points, the Titan becomes incapacitated and unable to move or act. I am glad that they specify these things, because when it comes to Kaiju, if you are using this system that is somewhat on the simulationist side, at least in some aspects, you need to know these things. If the target is suffering from a condition such as bleeding or burning, that condition doesn't simply disappear. The target must be stabilized quickly, which any character with the appropriate skill can attempt. Any pilot or titan whose critical zone has been reduced to less than 0 hit points has until the next round to be healed or repaired before dying permanently. So if you have taken too much damage to your head or your front torso, your critical zones, watch out. Now when it comes to the defense rating, Defense is a score that plays a far more critical role in keeping titans and pilots alive than HP. Any armored target, whether it's a cop in a Kevlar vest or a massive turtle-like kaiju with a thick, bony carapace, has a defense rating higher than 0. And how do you distribute this defense rating? This defense rating, or DR, is determined by a Titan's armor layering. When building or upgrading your Titan, the default assumption is that the defense rating is uniform across the entire Titan. So if your DR is 10, every hit zone has a DR of 10. Kaiju and enemy Titans could vary, however, since they have unusual body shapes and designs. And what about damaging armor? Targets with 0 armor will have a defense rating of 0, and any attack will always deal full hit point damage to them, unless evasion is used via the finesse attribute. Any attack or damage source must first penetrate the defense rating before dealing damage to HP. Damage that exceeds the DR also damages the armor in question by 1 point. In this way, even super tough targets can be gradually worn down, but weapons too weak to penetrate the DR will be ineffective. For example, a regular soldier on the ground will never be able to damage a kaiju with just a rifle. And what about the damage resistances and weaknesses? There are kaiju that are often highly resistant to various types of attacks, but there could also be some weaknesses that you can take advantage of. Damage resistance means that all attack dice results are reduced to 1, and critical strikes cannot be inflicted. Damage weakness is the opposite. All attack dice deal the maximum of 6 damage, and all rolls are treated as critical strikes. You also have simple optional rules. The simple rule set ignores individual hit zones and consolidates attributes across the entire Titan. Instead of distributing HP, subtracting defense rating per hit zone, and adding load capacity across different zones, you apply a single value to the whole character. As we dive deeper into the rule set, things will make a lot more sense. Now, when it comes to range, every character has a nominal distance they can move in one turn, with turns only being counted during combat or in time-sensitive situations. There is a significant difference between the range of pilots and titans, and range must scale according to the battlefield's circumstances. You even have information on the difference between the human and titan movement scale. When it comes to your reputation, whatever you do in the game world is going to affect how other non-player characters interact with you. Most non-player characters will respond to your character's attempts at bargaining, subterfuge, romance, and other social interactions, of course, but your reputation levels will have a mechanical impact on this, not only thematical. Each level of reputation grants a player character or non-player character a plus 1d6 or minus 1d6 in a contest of wheels or similar interactions. So, for example, maybe you have a loathsome reputation. You will apply a minus 3d6 in various situations. But what if you are exemplary? You would add a plus 2d6 to your interactions. And it all depends on context as well, of course. Maybe there are some places where being quite loathsome or notorious could have positive or negative effects respectively. And this concludes this part of the review series. In the next part we are going to talk about the character skills, specifically the skill system overview. When it comes to these derived values, they are pretty logical, easy to understand. They are certainly leaning more towards a simulationist style of the mechanics, but you have the optional simplified rules. So if you want to apply that instead of tracking the different hit points for the various zones, there is your option. It is certainly viable. Thank you for watching this part of the review series. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the Super Thanks button. Take a look at the information in the description and in the pinned comment. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar. And remember, master roleplay and you will master the game. Once again, thank you and see you later.